It was the kind of morning that made the whole desert village feel like it was smiling. The golden sun rose slowly, painting the soft sand and mud houses in a warm glow. Birds fluttered around the little water well in the center of the village. And a lazy camel chewed on dry grass, blinking slowly as if it had just woken up from a dream. Inside a cozy home for young adventurers, Liam, Max, Tom, and little William were packing small bags. They filled them with water, some dates, and a shiny little compass that Tom had found in his grandfather's wooden chest. Today was special. Today, they were going to explore the wide, mysterious desert. William clapped his hands with excitement, and Liam said proudly, "Let's go find the secrets of the golden sands." As the morning breeze whispered through the palm trees, the adventure of a lifetime was about to begin. The boys stepped outside into the warm morning light. The villagers, who knew about their love for exploring, waved from their rooftops. The dusty path stretched far into the desert, where the horizon shimmered like a golden mirror. Max adjusted his small backpack and said, "This desert looks endless. I wonder what's hiding out there." The camel beside the well made a soft grunt, almost like it was saying goodbye. The boys waved to their families, and William gave one last hug to his mother. Then, with a sound of soft sandals brushing the sand, they began their desert adventure. The desert sand was warm under their feet as the boys took their first steps onto the soft dunes. Their little footprints followed behind them like a secret trail. The sun shone brightly, and the wind danced across the dunes, making tiny spirals of golden sand. Liam stopped for a moment and pointed. "Look at that. It's like the desert is alive." High above, a falcon circled gracefully in the blue sky, as if it was keeping watch. The desert stretched endlessly ahead, waiting to share its secrets with the brave little adventurers. As they climbed a tall dune, a little movement caught William's eye. From behind a smaller dune, a baby camel appeared, its soft brown fur glistening in the sun. Dot the camel walked up to the boys and sniffed Max's bag curiously. Tom giggled, "I think he likes you, Max." The camel made a soft hum-hum sound and followed them for a while, like a friendly guide in the golden desert. William patted its head gently, and the boys felt less alone in the endless sands. By afternoon, the boys reached a tall dune with a perfect slope. Liam couldn't resist. He slid down the side, and as he did, the sand sang. A soft, humming note filled the air, like the desert was playing music just for them. Max and Tom laughed and slid down too, making the dune sing louder. Even William tried, giggling as he reached the bottom. "Wow," said Liam, catching his breath. "This desert has songs of its own." As the sun climbed higher, the boys grew thirsty. Then, shimmering in the distance, they spotted an oasis. They ran toward it and found a sparkling pond surrounded by tall palm trees. Colorful desert birds chirped happily, and a tiny lizard based on a rock nearby. They drank cool water, splashed their faces, and rested under the shade of the palms. "This is the best place in the world," whispered William. Feeling peaceful while exploring around the oasis. Wait, Liam suddenly froze. "Look," he whispered, Dot in the distance. The desert heat waves formed a mirage, it looked like. A golden castle rising from the sand. The boys gasped and ran toward it, but with each step, the castle wavered and vanished into thin air. Max sighed. I guess the desert likes to play tricks on us, asterisk, as evening approached. A golden-furred desert fox appeared on a dune, its bright eyes sparkling. It watched the boys quietly, tail flicking in the sand. Tom carefully opened his water bottle and offered a few drops. The fox licked the water, then turned and trotted a few steps, looking back as if saying, "Follow me." Liam nodded. "I think he wants to show us something." Asterisk suddenly, the wind changed. The fox disappeared behind a dune, and the sky grew darker. A sandstorm was coming fast. The horizon turned hazy, and the wind blew sharp grains of sand against their faces. "Cover your faces," Liam shouted, and the boys wrapped their scarves tightly. The desert roared like an angry lion asterisk through the storm. Max spotted a small hollow in the side of a tall dune. The boys crawled inside, safe from the whirling sand. They huddled together, listening to the wild wind outside. William whispered, "Do you think the desert is testing us?" Liam smiled softly. "Maybe, but we'll make it through." Asterisk hours passed before the storm finally calmed. When the boys stepped outside, they couldn't believe their eyes. The desert looked new. The dunes had shifted, forming strange ripples and curves. The sunset painted the sky in orange and purple, and the sand sparkled as if sprinkled with tiny stars. It felt like they had stepped into a different world asterisk as they walked. William pointed at something peeking from the sand. It was a giant stone arch, half buried, with ancient carvings of camels and stars. The boys stood in awe. "Who built this?" whispered Tom. No one knew. Dada felt like a doorway to another story asterisk that night. As they rested under the arch, the wind whistled softly through the stone. It made a gentle music, like flutes and whispers of old tales. Liam closed his eyes and listened. "It's like the desert is singing to us," he said. Above, the Milky Way stretched across the sky, brighter than ever asterisk. The boys gathered dry sticks and made a small campfire. Its warm glow danced on the stone arch. They roasted a few dates, sipped water, and told funny stories to William until his eyelids grew heavy. The desert night was cool, calm, and filled with the sound of distant animals moving softly in the dark. Asterisk, as the fire crackled, Max noticed something glowing in the sand. A golden scorpion crawled past, but it didn't seem dangerous. Its glowing trail pointed toward a nearby dune. Tom whispered, "Maybe it's guiding us." The desert was full of strange secrets tonight. Asterisk, the next morning, they followed the scorpion's trail and found something incredible: stone steps carved into the sand, leading underground. A warm golden light glowed from below, as if the desert itself had a heart. Liam grinned. "This is the start of our biggest adventure yet asterisk." They climbed down the steps into a sand tunnel. The walls sparkled with tiny crystals, and the air was cool and quiet. Their footsteps echoed, and they could hear faint whispers like the desert was telling its old stories. William held Liam's hand tightly, both nervous and excited asterisk. At the end of the tunnel, they stepped into a secret desert garden. Green plants, colorful flowers, and even a small waterfall sparkled in the sun that filtered through a crack above. Butterflies danced in the air, and the smell of fresh fruit filled the space. The boys had never seen anything so magical. Asterisk suddenly, a bright green parrot landed on a branch and spoke, "Welcome travelers, to the heart of the desert. The boys gasped. It talks. William laughed in surprise. The parrot flapped its wings and said, Follow me, brave ones. Your adventure has only begun, asterisk. The parrot led them to a tall golden door, covered in patterns of dunes and shining stars. As the sunlight touched it, the door began to glow. Liam placed his hand on it. Are we ready? He whispered. The door rumbled softly, as if the desert itself was answering and their magical journey into the unknown had just begun, asterisk, with a soft hoo. The golden door of sand and stars began to open. The boys held their breath. Beyond the doorway lay a shimmering hallway made of crystal-like sand. It glowed softly, lighting the path ahead without any torches. William whispered, It's like we're inside a star, asterisk. They stepped in carefully, feeling the soft sand under their feet, while the parrot flew ahead, calling, Follow me. Follow me, asterisk, as they walked deeper. The hall began to whisper. The walls seemed alive, telling stories in soft voices. If you listened closely, you could hear, Long ago, the desert was full of life, brave travelers, golden guardians. Max shivered and said, It's like the desert remembers everyone who ever came here. Tom touched the wall gently, feeling a warm pulse, as if the sand had a heartbeat, asterisk. The hall ended at a vast underground canyon, glowing with light from above. Across the canyon was a floating sand bridge, gently swaying as if made of magic. Liam took a deep breath. We have to cross it. Hold hands, one by one. The boys stepped carefully across the floating bridge. Beneath them, the canyon sparkled with glowing stones, like a river of stars. Asterisk halfway across, a giant desert owl swooped down and perched on the bridge. Its feathers glowed softly, and its eyes were like twin moons. Who goes there? It asked in a deep, gentle voice. The boys froze, and William whispered, We're just explorers. The owl nodded slowly, then walk with care. Many forget the desert is alive, and with a flap of its wings, it vanished into the sparkling canyon, asterisk. Across the bridge, they entered another hall where walls were covered with carvings. The carvings showed the desert's history, mighty sandstorms, brave travelers, and hidden oases. Liam touched one carving and suddenly saw a vision, an ancient traveler riding a camel, smiling as he discovered the same hall centuries ago. Max whispered, I think the desert wants us to remember its stories. Asterisk. The next room had a strange circular floor made of moving sand. When the boys stepped in, the sand shifted to form a maze pattern. The parrot called from above, Find the center, and the path will appear. Working together, the boys carefully followed the shifting patterns, laughing whenever the sand playfully swirled around their feet. At last, they reached the center, and a new passage opened, asterisk. They followed the new path and found a hidden waterfall inside the desert cave. The water fell into a crystal pool that glowed like the moon. William ran to the edge, dipping his hands in. It's warm, he said with surprise. Tom smiled. Magic. Water, only the desert could have something like this. The boys drank, feeling refreshed and brave for the journey ahead, asterisk. Further along, they entered a cave where every sound echoed in funny ways. When William giggled, the cave repeated, hee 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 hee. Boys couldn't stop laughing, jumping, and shouting, while the cave sent their voices bouncing like playful music. Even the desert likes jokes. Max laughed. Asterisk at the end of the echoing cave lay a giant figure made of sand. Its chest rose and fell as it slept. Liam whispered. Is that a sand giant? The parrot nodded. He protects the secret garden of the desert. Wake him only with kindness. The boys tiptoed past, holding their breath, feeling the ground tremble slightly as the giant snored. Asterisk beyond the giant. The tunnel opened into a magical underground garden. Hundreds of glowing flowers lit up the cave like tiny lanterns. Butterflies with sparkling wings fluttered around, and the air smelled sweet and fresh. William twirled in delight. It's like a fairy tale. The boys sat for a while, soaking in the beauty, letting the desert's magic fill their hearts. Asterisk as night approached. Outside, they reached a chamber with a ceiling of sand that looked like the night sky. Stars seemed to twinkle above them, even though they were underground. Liam lay on the soft sand and sighed. I feel like I'm sleeping under the real stars, the parrot whispered. In this place, the desert dreams with you. Asterisk the next room was filled with stone shelves holding strange sand scrolls. When Liam picked one up, it glowed and showed moving pictures in the air, stories of old desert kings and travelers. Tom gasped. It's a library made of sand and memory. The boys spent time exploring the glowing scrolls, learning the desert's secrets. Asterisk a gentle breeze led them into a tunnel where golden sand floated in the air like fireflies. The sand sparkled in the dim light, and when the boys moved, it swirled around them playfully. Max spun in a circle. It's like we're flying in the desert sky. The parrot laughed. This is the desert's happy wind. It only shows itself to true friends. Asterisk in the next hall. The boys saw shimmering shapes, ghostly. Camels marching in a silent caravan. They glowed faintly, like soft lanterns walking across the sand. William held Liam's hand tightly. Are they real? The parrot whispered. They are the desert's memory. They guide those who respect its way. The boys watched in awe as the caravan passed into the golden wind. Asterisk ahead lay a huge maze, made entirely of sand walls. The walls moved like waves, and shadows danced along them. The parrot said, only those who work together can escape. The boys held hands, talking through every turn. Whenever they doubted the path, Liam encouraged them. After a long journey, the maze opened to a glowing exit. Asterisk. They entered a round chamber with a shallow pool of crystal water in the center. When the boys looked into it, they didn't see themselves. They saw scenes of their adventure so far, like a storybook. Tom smiled. The desert remembers everything we do. William dipped his finger in, and ripples of golden light filled the room. Asterisk suddenly. A small golden scorpion appeared on a rock, but instead of being scary, it bowed its head and clicked gently. The parrot said, follow him. He will show you the way to the next wonder. The scorpion scurried ahead, leaving tiny glowing prints in the sand. The boys followed, careful not to lose sight of their tiny new guide. Asterisk. The scorpion led them to a room with a circular hole in the ceiling. Through it, the real desert night sky shone down, filled with stars. A cool breeze drifted in, carrying the smell of the desert. Liam looked up and whispered, it feels like the desert is watching over us. The boys lay on the sand for a while, gazing at the peaceful sky. Asterisk next, they found a narrow bridge made of glowing crystals that shone like stars. It crossed a wide underground canyon filled with sparkling sand. Holding hands, the boys carefully walked across. Each step made the crystals light up, leaving a trail of twinkling stars behind them. William laughed softly. We're walking on the night sky asterisk finally. The boys reached a grand circular hall. At its center was a giant crystal of golden sand, pulsing with light. The parrot landed on top and said, "This is the heart of the desert. Few have ever seen it." The boys felt the warmth and peace of the desert fill their hearts. Liam whispered, "I think the desert trusts us now." And the heart of the desert glowed even brighter asterisk. The boys stood around the glowing crystal, feeling its warmth. Then a soft voice filled the hall, like the wind speaking. "Liam, Max, Tom, William, you have walked the paths of the desert with brave and kind hearts." The boys froze in awe. Is that the desert talking to us?" whispered William. "Yes," said the voice. "The desert remembers those who respect its secret. Tonight, you are part of its story forever." The boys bowed their heads. Humbled and amazed asterisk, a beam of golden light rose from the crystal and touched each boy gently. Liam felt a warm, happy energy flow through him. Max saw tiny golden stars dance in the air. In William's hands appeared a small crystal of sand, glowing softly. The desert voice said, "Keep this. It will guide you whenever you are lost." The boys smiled, feeling a deep connection to the desert's magic asterisk when they turned around. They were surprised to see friendly desert animals gathering in the hall. The golden fox, the bright green parrot, even the little scorpion, they were all there. A baby camel poked its head in and gave a happy grunt. "They're here to say goodbye," Tom whispered. The animals seemed to bow their heads, as if acknowledging the boys' bravery and kindness. William giggled as the baby camel licked his hand. Asterisk, the desert voice, spoke again. "Your adventure is ending, but the desert will always remember you." Suddenly, a trail of glowing sand appeared. Leading out of the hall, the boys followed their footsteps, lighting up the path like stars on the ground. It felt like walking through a dream, warm and peaceful. Even the air seemed to hum a soft lullaby asterisk before leaving the magical hall. Liam looked back one last time. The heart of the desert pulsed warmly, like it was alive and smiling. "Thank you," Liam whispered. The crystal gave a soft glow as if it had heard him. The boys knew they would carry this memory in their hearts forever. Asterisk, they followed the glowing trail into a familiar sand tunnel. The walls glittered with golden specks, lighting their way. Max said softly, "It feels like the desert is guiding us home." Tom nodded, "And making sure we don't get lost." Even William, though sleepy, held Liam's hand tightly. Feeling safe, asterisk, as they passed the sand giant from before, its eyes opened slowly. It raised its massive head and gave a gentle nod. "Travelers," the deep voice rumbled, "your journey was true." The boys stood still, both amazed and a little nervous. Then the giant smiled and sank back into the sand, leaving only a soft hill behind. The desert had given them its blessing asterisk when they emerged from the tunnel. The real desert night sky stretched above them. Millions of stars glittered like jewels, and the moon bathed the dunes in silver light. Nearby, they spotted a peaceful oasis reflecting the stars in its water. They sat by the edge, listening to the soft sounds of the desert night. The wind felt like a friend, brushing gently past their cheeks as they rested by the oasis. The desert sang a soft lullaby, the rustle of palm leaves, the trickle of water, and the hum of night insects. William leaned against Liam and whispered sleepily, "I think the desert is saying good night." The boys closed their eyes for a moment, letting the calm of the desert wrap around them like a warm blanket. When they opened their eyes, they saw the ghostly camel caravan again, walking under the moonlight. The glowing camels moved slowly across the dunes, leaving sparkling sand behind. Max whispered, "Goodbye, friends." And for a moment, he thought one of the glowing camels nodded at him. The boys began their journey back to the village, following the glowing sand path. The desert at night was beautiful. Not scary cool winds, soft moonlight, and the quiet song of the sands. Liam said, "I think the desert trusts us now." And for a moment, they felt like the desert itself walked beside them. From a tall dune, the giant desert owl appeared once more. Its glowing eyes looked down at the boys with pride. "Little travelers," it said in a deep, soothing voice, "you have learned the desert's heart. Go home with joy." With a graceful flap, the owl soared into the starry night, disappearing like a shadow. As they walked, the golden fox appeared again, wagging its tail. It walked alongside them for a while, like an old friend. William giggled. "Do you want to come home with us?" The fox simply nuzzled his hand, then dashed off into the dunes, leaving a trail of sparkling sand behind. The desert sky seemed to shine brighter than ever, as if guiding the boys home. Each star twinkled like it knew their names. Tom said softly, "It feels like the desert is walking us back to our village." Liam smiled. "And watching over us forever, after hours of walking under the peaceful night sky." The boys finally saw the faint lights of their village. The mud houses and palm trees looked cozy and welcoming. William cheered quietly. "We made it." Their hearts filled with relief and pride. They had completed the greatest adventure of their lives. They entered the village silently, not wanting to wake anyone. The streets were calm, and the soft moonlight lit their path. They could hear the faint sounds of night crickets and the rustle of palm trees. It felt strange and magical to return, carrying the desert's secrets in their hearts. The next morning, they woke up and shared their story with their families. At first, the villagers smiled politely, thinking it was a grand bedtime tale. But when William showed the glowing sand, crystal, everyone gasped in amazement. The desert had truly chosen these 4 boys as its friends. From that day on, the desert felt like a kind guardian for the village. Sandstorms passed gently, the oasis water stayed cool and fresh, and the night skies shone brighter. The villagers whispered, "The desert has blessed us because of Liam, Max, Tom, and William." Sometimes, the boys would climb the dunes at sunset and look out across the endless sands. They could almost hear the whispers of the desert, telling them it remembered. The baby camel would sometimes visit, and the boys would laugh, remembering the songs of the dunes and the glowing halls below. One quiet night, under a sky full of stars, Liam whispered, "The desert is still singing to us, Max." Tom and William listened, and indeed, they heard a soft humming in the wind. The desert would always tell their story, the story of 4 brave boys who followed the golden sands and became part of its eternal magic. And with that peaceful thought, The desert night closed around them like a gentle dream. Asterisk, asterisk.